Changes ahead for gambling in Florida, but they depend on legal challenges. And those changes may go farther than slot machines, with fantasy sports under pressure.
I'm worried the Gaming Commission can go in there and shut them down.
We're talking about the new gaming compact with lawmakers from our area, one for it and one against it. We also visit with the Speaker of the House on workforce development. Plus, we're looking at the decision in Duval County on increasing the gas tax, the impact the vote could have in Jacksonville for years to come. All on This Week in Jacksonville. I'm so glad you're with us today. Jacksonville City Council voted almost 3-1 in favor of raising the local option gas tax from 6 cents to 12 cents. Rick Mullaney joining us this morning, director of the Public Policy Institute at Jacksonville University, our News 4 Jax political analyst. And Rick, the topic was predictably controversial, but perhaps not as much so as the more recent projects, big ticket projects like Lot J. How did this process, why was it different, and obviously came to the conclusion that the mayor's office wanted to see in this case?
Well, really, Kent, this process was very different from what the city saw on Lot J, or quite frankly with the JEA. To the mayor's credit and to JTA's credit, both of them early in the process began to reach out to policymakers, began to reach out to the community, began to reach out to civic leaders, and this was well in advance of the legislation being passed. Once the legislation went to council, there were town hall meetings, there was council debate. You saw some council amendments that actually improved the proposal. Ron Salem made an amendment that took $132 million away from the Skyway, which is one of the least popular parts of this.
Right.
Matt Carlucci had an amendment for the Emerald Trail. There was a discussion, it passed, and to the credit, I think, particularly the Chief of Staff of the Mayor, Jordan Ellsbury, and for the CEO of the JTA, Nat Ford, their advocacy, their education of the public represented a sharp contrast to what we've seen in the past. Whether this passed or whether this failed, this was an improved process, and in this case, the mayor's office was very successful.
And there were plenty of people who said, hey, we want to see this improved process, whether they were for or against it. They want to see it just work better. So when it comes to policy here, give us the broad strokes of maybe the positives or negatives on what this new bill is going to mean, what this new tax is going to mean.
Well, positive, the short version is this is one of the most substantial investments in infrastructure, really in the city's history. And as I've said on Channel 4 in the past, there are three things you look to local government for, many things, but three in particular. One is public safety, and that's over $700 million of our $1.3 billion a year budget. One is free and quality public education, and remember we had a half-cent sales tax in November, and the other is infrastructure. This local option gas tax will pay for transportation and transportation-related infrastructure projects in three areas. One is roads, streets, transit, and the traditional infrastructure that you think of. The second is the Skyway conversion, less popular, but it's going to convert it from this elevated monorail to one with automated vehicles stretching out to neighborhoods. And the third is the Emerald Trail, gaining popularity for lots of reasons. Those are the three main areas. But importantly, Kent, by freeing up the money in the general fund in these three areas, it opens up funding for the phase out of septic tanks. And already you saw $100 million appropriated for that purpose. You're going to see more appropriations in the future. So those are the positives. On the negative side, we've had rising gas prices, and this is adding to that. As Leanna Cumber pointed out, this is a regressive tax. It certainly is. And in the end, too, and you saw an amendment by Randy DeFore, the Skyway itself still has some issues in terms of its cost and its risk. And so that is one of the more unpopular parts of this. A lot of faith in Nat Ford on that one.
Yeah, and he's been preaching that for a few years now. Hey, we've got to rethink Skyway, reinvent it. So this U2C project is certainly something that he's got a lot of hope for. A lot of people said they weren't in favor of this. UNF did a poll recently, and the majority said, no, we don't want this gas tax. The per-person impact on average ranges between $20 and $40 per year based on the vehicle that the person has. Critics say that you have to factor in other tax increases in recent years, too, like the pension plan, the school district having the half-cent sales tax increase. What do you think about it? Should all those things come together? I mean, is this a Republican administration that has been raising taxes on the people of Jacksonville?
Well, first of all, it is important to consider what is the tax burden on the people in your community and the people here in Jacksonville. That's important to consider. Second, when you look at the pension plan, that really isn't a tax increase. That's an extension. After the expiration of the Better Jacksonville plan, sales tax, that will then be an extension. Overall, thirdly, when you look at overall taxes in Duval County, Quite frankly, we were fortunate in Duval County, a little bit of a lower tax burden than you see around the rest of the state. And for the two big ones in the last 6 months, the half-cent sales tax in November, that represents a nearly $2 billion investment in public education. And this gas tax, which represents a nearly $1 billion in infrastructure, $3 billion for the future. Jacksonville is playing a little bit of catch-up. Most of the big counties in the state of Florida, from Miami-Dade to Tampa to Orange County to Orlando, all have these in place. And for Jacksonville overall, a little bit of a lower tax rate. But these two taxes recently, the half-cent sales tax in November, as well as this gas tax, represent potentially some really significant investments in education and infrastructure for the future.
You've mentioned to me privately, hey, this is kind of a signature moment for the mayor, Lenny Curry. Also, as you comment here, I'd also like to maybe explain to people, we're talking about, this is all about infrastructure, but there's a connection to replacing the septic tanks in areas of Duval County.
Yeah, I do believe that the mayor deserves a lot of credit here. This was a proactive initiative on his part. And in the past, recently in his second term, it's been a challenging term for him, both in terms of the JEA initiative and the Lot J initiative. And he could have just tried to run out the clock, but instead he did something that is traditionally unpopular with Republicans, which is to raise taxes. However, let me say this, on Capitol Hill, there's more of an appetite for user fees such as this one, so it is consistent with some Republicans are advocating. But to the mayor's credit, he saw a need to invest in infrastructure. He was willing to propose this gas tax increase. He approached it in a very proactive way, and he also took into account the need not only for transportation infrastructure, but to phase out septic tanks. Yeah. I think history will be a good judge of this initiative for the mayor.
So just briefly, how does a transportation measure like this remove septic tanks? It's connected by what happens in the budget for the city, right?
It is. You have a CIP, a capital improvement plan, both on the JTA side and on the city side. And on the city side, the gas tax is going to pay for transportation and transportation-related projects in the CIP. That will free up money in the general fund, and that general fund money can be used for the phase-out of septic tanks. But let me make this final note, Kent. This is very important. A historic time for Jacksonville in terms of addressing infrastructure at a time of growth, both with the gas tax and the COVID-19 money coming from Washington, over $300 million, and a potential infrastructure bill coming from Washington. This is a unique period, a unique juncture in which Jacksonville can address really serious infrastructure needs and invest for the future. And I think you're going to see that happen.
And as people have pointed, a long time coming on some of these issues. Rick Mullaney, thank you so much for perspective this morning.
Thanks, Ken.
Coming up later, my one-on-one interview with the Speaker of the House, Chris Sprowls, and two lawmakers from Duval County. They are with us today. In our next segment, State Representatives Tracie Davis and Clay Yarborough on This Week in Jacksonville.
Your summer starts here. Time to save on a new Toyota and get out and have some fun. Catch a great deal today.
Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2021 Camry and 90-day payment deferral. Toyota, let's go places.
When a man with a lifelong injury was told by his first attorney that his insurance maxed out at $10,000, he wanted a second opinion. We found hidden in the fine print $450,000. He got every penny. Farah and Farah.
1 in 5 children is living with a mental illness. During this challenging time, many more could be struggling in silence. On Our Sleeves, the movement to transform children's mental health is here to help. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and On Our Sleeves has free, easy-to-use educational tools and resources for families. Learn more at onoursleeves.org.
Oh my, with Chase Freedom Unlimited, I earn all this cash back? Oh, I gotta tell everyone. Hey, Rita, you can earn 3% on dining, including takeout.
Bon appetit.
Hey, Kim, you earn 5% on travel purchase through Chase.
Way ahead of you.
Hey, Neil, you can earn 3% at drugstores.
Buddy, I'm right here. Why are you yelling?
Because that's what I do. You're always earning with 5% cash back on travel purchase through Chase. 3% at drugstores, 3% on dining, including takeout, and 1.5% on everything else you buy. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Great parties start by recycling the new Ball aluminum cup. In about 60 days, the recycled aluminum can return as part of other infinitely recyclable, lightweight yet sturdy cups. Bringing out the best in cold drinks and lifting up any get-together. So enjoy. Reuse just a few times if you like, and then recycle the new Ball aluminum cup because the party starts here. Find us in your store's disposable section and choose aluminum over plastic.
The thing about really good money is you can't eat it. But $5 will get you Arby's classic crispy, juicy chicken and crinkle fries deal. And that's gotta be the next closest thing. Arby's, we have the meat.
With a great deal on a new Toyota, you can go out and enjoy all your favorite summer sports, like softball, beach volleyball, triathlons.
Lease a new 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE for just $249 a month for 36 months. Toyota, let's go places.
Thank you for waking up and starting your day with us.
Helping you get ready for the day ahead.
And for making News for Jax your first choice for local news every day.
Number 1 morning news, number 1 4 p.m. news, number 1 early evening news, number 1 late news, the number 1 local news website, and nearly 250,000 live streams in 1 month.
So thank you.
And we'll see you in the morning.
The Morning Show on Channel 4 makes mornings happen. You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
Thanks for staying with us. So Florida has a new gaming contract with the Seminole Tribe. It was signed off by Governor Ron DeSantis last month, and then the legislature met in a special session to seal the day and seal the deal, I should say. Joining us now, two of the members of the state legislature, State Representatives Tracie Davis and Clay Yarborough, both representing Jacksonville. So, Representative Davis, you voted in favor of the compact. Tell us why.
Wow. First, I'll start off with saying nothing is perfect, and so the compact was definitely not perfect, but it has a guarantee of $2.5 billion coming to the state. And as of 2010, the compact we were in before, the Seminole Tribe stopped paying us because the state was found to be in violation of that compact, and they haven't paid us anything since 2019. Haven't paid us anything to the tune of $350 million. So with this compact guaranteeing us $2.5 billion in the first 5 years, I just felt like that was monies going to the general revenue that we could really start dealing with issues like health care, fully funding education, taking care of some of our local safety net hospitals, and dealing with infrastructure. So we can really start having a conversation now that we have those dollars coming to the budget.
$2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion in the first 5 years.
Nothing to sneeze at. Representative Yarborough, you voted against that. Tell us why.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you for letting us be on today, Ken. Always a great time to be here with you, and I'm glad to be here with my colleague, Representative Davis, too, and good to see you. So I had a concern. Amendment 3 passed in 2018 by voters statewide, and my concern, like some of the legal minds are continuing to look at now, even though the compact has been approved and was signed by the governor, is that it may run afoul of what Amendment 3 dictated, which was that any expansion of gambling in Florida should go back before the voters to be approved. And so that stood out to me as being enough of a concern that for now we should just look at it more carefully. And as Representative Davis mentioned about the compact in 2010, there were actually several iterations of that came before the legislature before a final product was approved at the time. And so it's not that we couldn't still look at changes, and there could still be some that come as we move forward, but that one for me was enough to just say, hold on, we need to really take a harder look, and we will have the potential of a lot of revenue, which can go for a lot of things, but for me, I just couldn't get there to vote yes because of that and some other concerns.
I think the vast majority of people, even viewers of this particular program, which is mostly politics, would say, I don't know if I understand the process here. So the governor makes this agreement, but it still has to go through the state legislature. And then, yes, you were able to make some changes to what you, Representative Davis, said, not a perfect agreement there, right?
No, absolutely not perfect. And we were able to make some changes to it as far as amendments with the Gaming Commission and making sure the Gaming Commission was racially diverse as well as race and ethnicity. And so there were some things we were able to do. But again, it's not a perfect product. And I'll just tell you guys a personal story. My parents loved the dog track. So that was another reason that I had something to invest in it and wanted to see it pass, because I lost my mom in 2007, and that was something my parents just loved to do together. So that also had something to do with me voting yes for it.
Well, something that has been popular and really has raised in popularity in these last few years is daily fantasy sports. Now, this was outside of the gaming compact, as I understand it. Senate Bill 16A, bill that would legalize these daily fantasy contest. And I wanted everybody to hear just Scott Ward, an attorney who represents both DraftKings and FanDuel. He says that both DraftKings and FanDuel currently operating in Florida. There's no law explicitly banning or legalizing daily fantasy sports contests. We also heard from Senator Travis Hudson on this issue.
You now have a fantasy contest happening that's not licensed under the state. So I'm worried the Gaming Commission can go in there and shut them down.
There are hundreds of thousands of 18 to 18, 19, 20-year-olds in Florida who are playing fantasy sports legally, happily, enjoying it, having a good time. You pass this bill and they would not be allowed to do it anymore.
So, Representative Yarborough, if you'd start here, but so is this separate from the gaming compact that was just signed with the Seminole Tribe? Is this a different concern? Is it the same concern that had you saying, oh, I'm not going to say yes to this gaming compact yet?
Thank you. And as you mentioned, Kent, too, there were separate pieces of legislation in both the House and the Senate that would have touched on this. But in the negotiations, as we moved toward the final product that came before the House and the Senate, that was something that they opted not to include and that we didn't consider. So it's not to say it couldn't be considered in the future, but for now, it was not something that was part of that package.
Yeah. So let's expand from gaming. There was this whole 60-day legislative session prior to the special session. And 2020 was supposed to be this great year economically. Then the pandemic hit, and then we thought, oh, Florida's, going to have a tough time economically. And then the legislature produced this record-setting budget. Help people understand why and where we stand economically. Representative Davis.
Well, the budget we passed was $1.115 billion, right? And so huge budget. And so I know midway through the forecast, we found $1 billion in the forecast. So we were able to use those dollars as far as putting them in members' projects and funding some parts of our budget that really needed to be funded. I think this year we were able to fund over 600 member projects within this budget, and that's record-setting from what I know. But we did end up on a high note, having over a $100 billion budget, and with that forecast, with federal dollars coming in from on a contingency from the American Rescue Plan, we did have a number of significant dollars for this budget to probably one of the largest we've had in Florida's history.
Yeah. So. Was that a surprise that after what we went through
For
a
me,
year
it definitely
ago?
was.
It was. I would say yes, and Representative Davis has explained it well, but I thought, especially with all the challenges we had last year because of COVID, that we would see, continue to see just huge numbers in the negative and the red and all of that. But as our forecasters began to estimate for the coming quarters, they said, well, we're actually seeing, some jumps up and seeing more good projections. And so, we're seeing things open back up and, more people are getting out and doing things. And so it's actually a good forecast for the coming months and for the coming year. And that's what's led to us being able to invest more in that budget.
Some good news for the state for sure.
Yes.
Hey, last topic, and we'll have to be kind of brief here before we run out of time. I know this week, Governor DeSantis signed this bill about holding big tech accountable. He said by driving transparency and safeguarding Floridians' ability to access and participate in online platforms. Now the state is facing a lawsuit from some companies who say that's unconstitutional. It's an attack on the First Amendment. Where do each of you stand on this new law?
Well, the new law was difficult for us. That was the law that I voted no against. And my caucus and I felt that it was somewhat of a retaliation to the big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter for removing the former president's accounts. And so with that retaliation, I completely agree with the lawsuit. I think the private companies have free speech rights as well. I think there is some violation of federal law when it comes to regulation, as well as some of the user agreements that are already in place. So I definitely agree with the lawsuit. And it's in the hands of the courts now, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, Representative Yarborough.
What drove my yes vote on it was the fact that we have seen over the past several years, some of the tech companies have almost assumed the roles of what publishers would do and some of the regulation of the content and banning users and things of that nature, whether it be a celebrity or whether it be an individual who is expressing their views on certain subjects. We've seen what looks like some behavior that doesn't align with what you would think of as an open platform or open space to share those views. So I supported it for that reason. As you said, we'll have to see what happens with the legal action, but for now, definitely stand by that vote.
Lots more we could talk about, but I want to make sure people get to hear from the Speaker of the House. So I appreciate your time and talking through some of these issues, and maybe we can get back together and talk through the summer as well.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, well, still ahead, Florida Speaker of the House, as I mentioned. We're going to keep talking about statewide policies. That's coming up in our next segment on This Week in Jacksonville.
Get Memorial Day savings now at Splash. Save big on any and all hot tubs and pay only $89 a month. All hot tubs on sale for just $89 a month. Get your backyard vacation ready with Memorial Day savings now at Splash.
If you've been injured by medical malpractice, call Farah & Farah for a free review of your case, even if another firm has turned your case down. Farah & Farah.
Psst, can you hear me? I'm going to tell you something other car dealers don't want you to know. Right now, there is a huge demand for your vehicle, and it's worth up to $4,000 more than Kelley Blue Book. Anything less would be a crying shame. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, we don't keep secrets. We give you what you deserve, a fast, fair, and transparent experience. Don't settle for less. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Don't make us come get you.
With a SunTrust checking account, you can deposit checks and pay bills on our mobile app. So you can bank with a few taps from virtually anywhere.
I'm Morgan, and there's more to me than HIV. More love, more adventure, more community. But with my HIV treatment, there's not more medicines in my pill. I talked to my doctor and switched to fewer medicines with Dovato.
Prescription Dovato is for some adults who are starting HIV-1 treatment or replacing their current HIV-1 regimen. With just 2 medicines in 1 pill, Dovato is as effective as a 3-drug regimen to help you reach and stay undetectable. Research shows people who take HIV treatment as prescribed and get to and stay undetectable can no longer transmit HIV through sex. Don't take Dovato if you're allergic to any of its ingredients or if you take dofetilide. Hepatitis B can become harder to treat while taking Dovato. Do not stop Dovato without talking to your doctor, as your hepatitis B may worsen or become life-threatening. Serious or life-threatening side effects can occur, including allergic reactions, lactic acid buildup, and liver problems. If you have a rash and other symptoms of an allergic reaction, stop taking Dovato and get medical help right away. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis B or C, or if you are, may be, or plan to be pregnant. Your doctor may prescribe a different medicine than Dovato if you plan to be pregnant or if pregnancy is confirmed during the first trimester. Dovato may harm your unborn baby. Use effective birth control while taking Dovato. Most common side effects are headache, nausea, diarrhea, trouble sleeping, tiredness, and anxiety.
So much goes into who I am. HIV medicine is one part of it. Ask your doctor about Dovato. I did.
Get Memorial Day savings now at Splash. Save up to 70% on all patio furniture sets, dining sets, sitting groups, up to 70% off. Plus 0 interest financing available. Get your backyard vacation ready with Memorial Day savings now at Splash.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
The Florida House of Representatives Speaker, that is Chris Sprowls. He was in the region this week, and he met with me here in studio to talk about the legislative session in 2021, among other items. We began speaking about the changes to unemployment benefits, with the governor ending federal supplements of $300 per week.
The reality is, if you go out here in downtown Jacksonville, where I live, in Palm Harbor, Clearwater, you're going to find that restaurants don't have folks who are working there. You go into your nonprofits, maybe you work out at the YMCA or some other place. You go in, the people that you're used to seeing aren't there. We haven't gotten people back into the workforce. If you go on a job posting site, you will find no shortage of opportunities to go back to work. The problem is the federal government has created an incentive not for folks to do that. And look, people want to make the best decision for their family, and that means as much money as you can bring home as possible. What we need to do to make sure that we continue to beat our national partners in other states is to get people back into the workforce, to get them back being producers and thriving, and that's going to make their families healthier in the long term.
Well, and you mentioned that phrase workforce. That's something that one of our state representatives who was on our Sunday morning show this week, Clay Yarborough, was involved with. Tell us about some of the changes there that the legislature's made.
The bill that Clay Yarborough and Lauren Mello worked on, there's 2 workforce bills that we did. It was the largest revamp of any workforce system that any state has undertaken ever in the history of the United States, as far as I'm concerned. If you look at it, we have gone from really the beginning to the end of how people look for a job. You know, we saw this during the pandemic. You know, people lost their job. 58% of people either got a pay cut or lost their job during the pandemic. Those who went to start to look for a job, where do you go? It's hard to find a job. I said this when I became speaker. It shouldn't be so hard to find work. And the reality is that whether it was getting a credential that's going to get you back into the workforce, whether it's you're coming from the state college system or you're going to a local workforce board, we don't use the power of data and the power of analytics to make sure we're getting you in the right spot where you're going to be successful in the long term for your family. So what we did is we really rebuilt it from the ground up. So whether you walk into a state college or you walk into a career source board, they're going to be able to find a job for you that fits your skills. If you need to be retrained, they're going to show you how to do that cheaply. And then we've incentivized our local state colleges. We've said things like, hey, if Kent walks in to get a job and he's going to get a credential, you have to give him a money-back guarantee on the things that are hot in his market to make sure that he knows that if he gets that credential, that he's got a great shot at getting a job.
Now, for-profit colleges come to mind here in Jacksonville. The law school that's here, Florida Coastal, recently going through a process where the White House has said, hey, we want to make sure colleges like this don't take advantage of students. Is that part in your mind of that workforce component as well?
It is, in the sense that I think that people need to understand the value or the lack of value from what the degrees that they're getting. We'll use law schools because you brought that up. We have 10 law schools in the state of Florida. And the average starting salary of an entering lawyer in the state is $50,000. And yet...
less than many people would expect.
Less than a lot of people would expect. Yeah. And what they also may not expect is that the average student debt for that $50,000 a year lawyer is $180,000.
I was going to say like times 4 with that salary.
Does that make sense for a lot of people? No. And the reality is if you went into welding and you had a credential in welding and a certificate in welding, you're probably starting at $70,000, $80,000 a year. So we want to make sure that when you're coming through the K-12 system, that you really understand what are the opportunities, what are the hot degrees that we're putting people in. And I think that means beginning to recharge how we do the carrots and sticks in the system and make sure that the K-12s and the state colleges are incentivized to get people into degrees in fields where they can get a job.
Chris Sprowls is in the first of his 2-year term as Speaker, so it'll be this legislative session and then next year's as well. He told me he came to Jacksonville to meet with members of the area delegation, including Clay Yarborough, who we just heard from in the previous segment, as well as Representatives Wyman Duggan and Sam Garrison. Now, concerning the workforce topic we discussed, Jacksonville's unemployment number is 4.8%. St. John's and Nassau counties, they have some of the best unemployment figures in the state of Florida at this point. All right, Duval County School Board member Warren Jones, State Senator Travis Hudson, each on the guest list for our next time on this show. We hope you'll join us. This Week in Jacksonville, airing each Sunday at this time. I'm Kent Justice, so we thank you for watching on air on Channel 4 and the CW17, and you can find previous episodes online at news4jax.com.
Why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.